Hello, my name is Tom and I'm a journalist at the FinTech Times. We are at Seamless Europe in Munich and today we're lucky enough to be joined with Alex. Alex, thank you very much for joining us. Could you just start off by giving us a quick introduction, please?
Sure. Hey, Tom. Nice to meet you. I'm Alex from Amlyze. We're basically a RegTech, software as a service provider. We help fintechs, banks, any regulated financial institution to deal with regulatory compliance, more specifically anti-money laundering, anti-financial crime. So yeah, that's us pretty much.
Fantastic. So this month, the FinTech Times is really focusing on RegTech as part of our monthly theme. So you're the perfect person to talk to about
All
this.
right.
And one of the questions we're trying to find out about is, what are the biggest challenges that are currently facing compliance teams?
There are a lot, but I'm not going to tell you anything new in that. Obviously, when it comes to regulatory requirements in Europe, but also across the globe, that is continuing to be more and more complex. That's true in Europe, specifically when it comes to anti-money laundering. For example, you may be aware of the different edition of the European Union AML directive. You have new iteration now every 2 or 3 years. So each time you implemented and adjusted your framework, you have a new one coming. So that's extremely challenging for compliance team. Obviously, that's a bit of a different area, but you have DORA, you have the Payments Directive number 3 for the European Union as well, and there are a lot more. So obviously, dealing with that is one of the big challenge, but also trying to streamline your process in regards to what that means in your daily operation to that. So that's where we're trying to help as well.
Fantastic. Well, as you just said, there are so many different new rules and regulations coming into play. We've got PDS2, PDS3, we've got DORA, MiCA regulations coming in. With all of this different things that they have to comply with, how should financial institutions react? What should be the first step when they've got all of these different rules to comply with?
It's a very good point because the first natural reaction might be, okay, let's hire more people that are going to help us make sense of the regulation, and let's try to help them tell us how we should adjust our process so that we can meet our regulatory requirement. But it's always a good idea as well to take a step back, take a bit of perspective, and really understand how does that impact your operation. And a very smart approach is what we call in compliance generally the risk-based approach, which basically consists in really understanding what is your actual risk in view of your activity and your operation in view of this new regulatory requirement, and what makes sense in this regulatory requirement for you when it comes to adjusting your compliance framework or risk management framework. So try to have a really smart approach to that.
Fantastic. So, with the speed at which financial regulations are evolving, how does a company like Amlyze really ensure that it stays ahead of all of the compliance regulations and requirements?
So for us, the challenge is rather to help our clients and partners to stay ahead of the regulation. And I think here there is a very practical example and a very current example, which is sanction compliance. For the last 4 to 5 years, I would say we've never seen so many changes and updates in sanctions compliance because obviously of the geopolitical events across the globe. And once again, a natural reaction for all subject entities. So we're talking banks, fintechs, neobanks, but also many other non-usual suspects, I would say, which have to apply this regulatory requirements, tend to throw people at the problem. We're having a new regulation coming. We know that the regulator is going to be very strict in enforcing this regulatory requirement. What do we do? Where are more people? And one of the big problem, I will say, and it's a problem from many different point of view, is that you're basically allocating people, very smart people, with very deep background and experiences and very, I would say, fine level of knowledges to matters which are very low value added. So typically, for example, dealing with a false positive for sanction screening, whereby you could leverage these people to do much more value added and intellectually enriching tasks, such as dealing with new product compliance review, new markets, onboarding new type of clients. And that's the problem because you're underusing the all this knowledge that you have within your company.
Perfect. So if we look a little bit to the future now, what kind of future plans does Amlyze have in store? Have you got any exciting developments that are upcoming? Now, what does the short-term future look like for you?
We have a lot of very exciting stuff coming. Some of these cannot be displayed now. But what we can say is that we're trying to ourselves leverage more and more some of the area of technology that could help our client and that are so far underused. So obviously everybody is talking about artificial intelligence. We're trying to go one step further into understanding what can be the application that further to just, for example, generative AI in the field of artificial intelligence can help our clients bringing more value into their daily operation. We're also trying to follow the trend in the banking, fintech, and financial services area as to the new developments to match the customer needs. So typically that will be, for example, marketplaces, online retailers, e-commerce platform getting more and more into payments and more than just leveraging payment service provider, doing payments internally, doing payments of their own. And we're trying to accompany them and help them into this kind of transition as well.
Okay, brilliant. And obviously, as I said, this month, the FinTech Times is focusing on RegTech. And one of the questions that we're trying to ask everyone is what big trends do you expect to see upcoming in the regulatory space, whether it be in Europe or elsewhere? What are big shifts that you're expecting to see in the near future?
I think, so if we get back to the basis and the roots of this word, so we've got regulatory and technology. When it comes to regulatory requirements, specifically in the area of financial services, one of the big problem a lot of people have been trying to solve within, I would say, even the last 10 years, is how to exchange information between financial institutions, between banks, other fintechs, to make sense out of it and basically stop being blind and acting only in your own very closed loop ecosystem. How do we exchange information, make sense of it so that we can safeguard ourselves and our clients in a much better way that we are doing it today? Up until today, one of the big barriers to that was the fact that the information we're dealing with in the financial services ecosystem is very sensitive. We're dealing with client data, transactional data, which are extremely sensitive when it comes to exchanging it. Now, and thanks to technology, we have ways and methods such as privacy enhancing technologies. I'm talking about certain kind of synthetic data, for example. We have the possibility to actually unlock what used to be a barrier. So I think that's going to be one of the next big things in RegTech, specifically when it comes to dealing with the financial services industry.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, obviously it's a very exciting time and there's a lot of things to be looking forward to and things to be looking out for as well in the near future. But with that, thank you so much for joining us today. You've given us some great insight and there's a lot to think about. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Tom.